What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the absolute best show in all of pro wrestling and sports entertainment. You know what time it is. It is the Royal Rundown. I am your host, SERG VICENTE, and today, normally, I am joined as always by my sister from another mister, my fantastic co-host, Miss Drede. She unfortunately is not here. She is a boss as she is. She's working right now, doing what she got to do. So salute to her, and everything. But before we go in here and introduce our guest host, we have to always talk about scrap news. Make sure each and every week you guys go ahead and check us out here on the Scrap News. Scrap News is fantastic, absolute fantastic combat sports media. In fact, from what I hear, they keep telling me they're the number one fastest growing combat sports media channel out there. So if that's true, that is what's up. So salute to the Scrap News. Check them out for the absolute best in all combat sports media. But speaking of the Scrap News and speaking of our guest host for today, because we have a lot to talk about in the world of combat sports, and not just that, in the world of pro wrestling and sports entertainment, we have to talk about WWE, Clash at the Castle, as well as AEW All Out, and the brouhaha that is happening there with CM Punk and everybody else is going on there. But joining me today, let's go ahead and jump into it, is somebody who's also fantastic from the Scrap News fam, none other than my man, Lee. Lee, what is going on, man? Welcome to the show.
Oh man, what's going on, Serge? Man, I'm just happy to be here, man. I got big shoes to fill, Miss Dre shoes, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to hold you down tonight, though. But I'm ready, though.
Hey man, well look, I appreciate you jumping on the show with us today. Joey, like I said, let us know, and I appreciate it, man. We have a lot to talk about. We're gonna have a lot of fun today. And as always, I mean, come on, man, it's the best show. But real quick, before we even get into it, get into all the cards and everything, we gotta let the people know about you, man. You as yourself with the Scrap News fam, you are a pro wrestling fan. Fan. What got you in to pro wrestling itself, man? What makes you such a fan?
Oh man, I go back to Saturday nights on the Superstation. Me and my aunt, rest in peace, we used to watch wrestling every Saturday. So when I became old enough, when she felt I was old enough to go to live events, when they would come to the North Scope, she would let me go to the live events. But it was only one catch. I had to I had to pay for my own ticket. So basically, I would get out there, recycle cans, cut
Yeah,
grass, and all that good stuff just so I could go and see the live shows. And
absolutely.
one of the live shows that we actually got to go see, that was when Ric Flair was carrying around the aluminum bat.
Oh man, classic.
So man, that storyline was so crazy then, and ever since then, man, I've been in love with wrestling, man.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. No, it's great to be, especially how like wrestling, where it came from, how we started watching it. Uh-oh. You all right? You hear me all right?
Yep, Flair and aluminum bat, buddy. Yeah.
No, no, all good, all good. Like I said, you're in fact, hey, let's do this really
So
quick.
yeah, I've been
All right, give us 1 second. Unfortunately, Lee's service is going in and out real quick, so we'll get him back on in 1 second. But while we're working on that, one thing I do want to let you guys know is that today we are going to go ahead and talk about both pay-per-views. It was a great weekend in obviously the world of pro wrestling and sports entertainment. A lot happened. Obviously, we have to talk about Rey Mysterio and everything that's going on with Dom and Rhea and everybody there. But we also are going to go ahead and talk about the main event. And honestly, one of the biggest storylines coming out of Clash at the Castle. But also, I mean, how can we not talk about it? It seems like AEW is going out there and saying, hey, look, we might not be killing it right now in the storylines. We might not be, we don't have the trips rub at this moment in time, but what we do have is real life beef. And it seems like they got people getting punched and chairs getting thrown and concussed and bitten in the background. So we will absolutely talk about that. But look, I think we have Lee. Oh, we're gonna get him back on in a second. I thought we had him, but we'll get him back on a second. But I'm gonna start with this because and we're gonna start with the sugar today. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about what I think is the one of the better events of the weekend, which was actually, you know what? I'm not even gonna talk trash. I think both events were actually really dope, and they were actually like a lot of things to kind of pull from them. But my favorite things I'll say of and everybody who's in the chat, I wanted to ask you guys too, and I want to bring you guys into the show as we always do. What to you guys were the top highlights, the biggest moments of Clash of the Castle? Because there were a lot of them. We could talk about the main event, and we could talk about how the tribal chief himself, Roman, went out there and ended up, I mean, let's just keep it a bean. It looked like he was going to lose. I thought if he was ever going to go ahead and take an L, this would be the opportunity for him to go ahead and do so. But it didn't happen. I mean, granted, last week I think we did call that here on the show, on the absolute best show in all of pro wrestling and sports entertainment. Might I add you? We talked about it here, but the way that it happened, the call up, the addition to the bloodline. I mean, come on now. Solo going out there and doing that and helping out Roman. That to me, I'm not gonna stunt. Like, that there's that meme with the happy dance with Carlton, like doing his dance. Like, that was absolutely me jumping up and down to see that happen in the moment. Because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, in that moment, and look, guys, let me know if I'm wrong. When that happened in the moment, they had me. Because going into before and again in the Vince McMahon era and everything, when I was looking at it, for me, I was like, you know what? I think Clash at the Castle, everything is set up perfectly for Roman to lose. I was like, it makes perfect sense. Everything that's happened, this is when it's gonna happen. And as a fan of the tribal chief and everything bloodline, obviously, I was okay with it. I let it, like I was cool. I was like, this is gonna happen, and when it does happen, it'll be totally fine. It is what it is. But once Trips came in, and I mean, come on, guys, in Trips we trust. If something felt different, and with Sami Zayn and everything that was going on, I don't know. It just felt like Roman was gonna win. But near fall after near fall, it was over there. They had me. And on that last one, when they hit the 1, the 2, and then Solo goes and pulls his leg out, man, I damn near shrieked. It was crazy. But that was a great moment. Seeing that, obviously, I think another big moment that a lot of us are talking about has to absolutely be, Judgment Day, Dom Mysterio, all those. Absolutely. Come on, Kerry, let them know. In Trips we trust. Absolutely. Joey, what it do, man? Everybody joining us today live, watching us live right now on the Scrap News. Thank you guys so much for watching us tonight on the Royal Rundown, the absolute best show in all of pro wrestling and sports entertainment. Make sure, as always, again, if you want to listen to the show, watch us live here on the Scrap News, but you can also listen to the show later on. Tell your friends everything. Check us out on the Fight News or the Fight Podcast as well. Check that out. All right. All right, really quick, guys. We are trying to get Lee back on. He was here. And eventually, he'll jump back on. As soon as he does, we'll go ahead and bring him on the show. But that's why we got you guys here for. You guys are here doing this with me. Miss Dre Day, unfortunately, she's not here. She had to go ahead and, make a bag, and I ain't mad at her. She had to do her thing, but we had to keep the party going. Look. Oh, also, yeah. Watching what do you guys think about this Tyson Fury? Because I saw a lot of people, especially my boxing buddies, were really bent out of shape. People were really bent out of shape when Tyson Fury goes in there. And for those who don't see it, who are listening, say, I love seeing Leon in there. Leon Edwards, the champion, the UFC welterweight champ. Come on now, head kick heard around the world. Was in there, and also Tyson Fury punching. It's actually Austin Theory now. It's not just Theory. Okay, real quick. So that was really dope to see. And honestly, seeing those guys, seeing Leon get the rub and like the props that he deserves is really dope to see that. And also, speaking of that main event, watching how they incorporated Tyson Fury, the punch, messing up, the cash in, but not only that, afterwards, putting both guys over, going up there, shaking Roman's hand, turning around, even though he and Drew had beef, picking him up the way he did, putting him over there singing, doing their UK thing the way they do, and then they was having a good time. So, but real quick, before we even get to that, Love hearing what you guys got to say about it. I think we got Lee back. Lee, brother, is that you? Are you back? I got the black screen of death. I don't know if that's him. Are you there? Yo, can you hear me? Lee, brother, can you hear me? Is that all right? Can you hear me? All right, guys. Unfortunately, we cannot. It seems like there's a connection. If you guys let me know in the comments. If you guys can hear me all right, let me know. Because I want to make sure we're getting everything figured out today. But while we're getting that, go ahead and figure it out, and we'll pull him up. We'll try that again in about a minute or so. But what do you guys think? And again, I want to get your guys' thoughts also, because again, I'm seeing people seeing Austin Theory again, Theory getting his name back. I'm loving everybody getting their name back. I'm even loving the fact that I'm seeing people like Piper Niven, Dewdrop. Looks like they're about to get their names back. I love that. I cannot absolutely. They deserve it. They absolutely deserve to get their names back. So yeah, let's try this one more time. Lee, welcome to the show, brother. Are you there?
I'm here.
Can you hear me? Okay. Lee, can you hear me? Hello, hello. All right, everybody came. Lee, I'm sorry about that, brother. Like I said, Lee, like I said, go ahead and like I said, well, if we can get Lee back, and hey, check it out. Anybody want to chop it up with me? Let me know. Shoot me a DM. I'll bring you on the show. I don't care. We'll have a good time. Let's go ahead and figure this out. Let's start off with I think the events that obviously made most of a difference, and honestly, even to myself, was the moment that I popped the most, and that has to be Judgment Day, Dom turning on Ray and Edge, especially the way that he did it. I mean, come on, man, chef's kiss. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a little shoulder shimmy in there for the legend, Eddie Guerrero, because Eddie's looking down somewhere, looking down at his little nephew proud right now, because that turn. First of all, the match itself. Obviously, Edge coming out. I mean, Edge getting the bigger pop than Eddie. Edge had the biggest pop of the night, one of them at least. He comes in with a red luchador mask. I mean, it was a vibe. I'm not mad at it, especially with him, that like concoction of all the characters that he currently has now, like him coming out the mask. It was kind of cool. So they go out there, have the match with Judgment Day. They, go back and forth, whatever. They get the dub. But the way they get the dub, they go out there is because Dom, obviously took he the shenanigans. It was the shenanigans from Dom going out there getting the trip that was necessary, for the spear by Edge. And then after the fact, how dare Ray? How dare Ray, the terrible father that he is, goes out there and doesn't hug the person that was responsible for helping him with the victory, but he goes out there and hugs his partner who speared his kid and is trying to take the credit. So what I guess I'm saying is that watching Dom turn around and, he had his Balenciaga shoes on. They're not my favorite, but at least he has a little bit of swag. He went out there, booted Edge in the nuts. And it was a great turn. It was a heel turn that we were all waiting for. It was a heel turn that we all were jumping up and down. And guys, look, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. It's one of those things that it was one of like I think we all cheered because we knew it was going to happen, but the way that it happened, not just with Edge, the way that Dom turned on Ray was mirrored. If you guys haven't seen it, go ahead and check out the Fight Podcast IG page at the Fight Pod. And if you check that out, which you like, it was mirror images of when Eddie Guerrero turned on Rey Mysterio. It was so sick. The way he grabs his face, the way he looks to turn away, like, you know what, I don't know if I want to do this. And then the clothesline, but it wasn't the way, the clothesline, the way that it was executed, the clothesline to the knee, boom, it was the exact same. Oh man, chef's kiss. It was one of my favorite moments of the night just because of the way it did it, because of the way that they showed props to my personal GOAT, Eddie Guerrero. So we're gonna go ahead and throw another little little shoulder shimmy out there for him, man, because that was awesome. And Katie, great point. Yo, Rhea and Dom are absolutely giving China and Eddie vibes. Absolutely. It is definitely giving that same feel. And then call me a little kid. Like, it was one of those things that I'm giggling so much. I'm like, oh, I'm wrapped in the kayfabe of it all. I'm like, please let it be real. This is fantastic. I love every second of it. Dude, this is, and who would have thought? Who would have thought a couple of months ago we were looking at the Judgment Day like it was the stupidest thing ever? We were looking at the Judgment Day. Come on, made him into a man. Who didn't laugh their ass off when they saw that? When Rhea goes out there and says, I made him into a man, clicking her tongue ring and everything in front of Dom. He over here looking with the hair slicked back. Oh man. It was great. It was great. The way they're playing it, the way Eddie's playing it, is absolutely fantastic, man. But definitely lost my train of thought. But I mean, everything that they're doing with that storyline right now is great. Oh, that's what I was saying with Judgment Day. Judgment Day was a group of people that we all looked at a couple months ago, like, yo, this is trash. The purple lights, them speaking in riddles, like, it didn't make sense. It didn't feel authentic. And the fact that now they're like, aside from the bloodline, I mean, even sometimes even more so than the bloodline, people, like, we're hyped talking about them. Yo, Finn Balor, Fergalicious, Prince Devitt, whatever you want to call him. Yo, he is at his absolute best when he's a heel. And being able to see him play this character and watching them when Dom turns on them, watching them giggle and laugh the way that they did, come on. This is theater. This is the goofy wrestling, the storylines and shit that we grew up with. This is fun. This is why we love this shit. So that was, I think, for me, the most fun of the evening. Let me think. What first match of the night was okay. First match of the night, we're looking at the women's match, the three-way tag, should I say the trios match with Bianca and the good guys versus the bad guys, and Bailey and the bad guys, and Bailey and the bad guys ended up getting the W. The match was okay. In moments, they each had their moments. They each had their time to, like, show off their special move. I'm not gonna lie, letting them let Bailey pin Bianca. I was, you have Oscar, in them for that. Like, you don't need to allow, allow your champion to be the one to take the pin in that scenario. For me, wait, hold on, because I have to absolutely agree. Finn the GOAT, man. Well, we need to put some respect on his name. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was skeptical about the costume change. I was absolutely skeptical about the costume change, but you know what? I dig it. I'm here for it, man. I'm not mad at it at all. I love it. Finn's the GOAT. But yeah, I don't understand why they went out there and made that choice to have Bianca, take that pin. Again, you could have had anybody else do it, but it does lead into more storylines, so that's going to be good. I don't care where it leads, as long as in all of this tomfoolery, some of this with these tag team matches and everything, as long as it leads to Boss Glow coming back, that's all that matters. That's all we really care about. So let's hope that ends up happening. But yeah, absolutely. Come on now. Bianca versus Bailey incoming. They're setting it up. They're setting it up for her to get it. They said, and I'm not mad at it. That's a match that I think a lot of us can get behind, and especially is bringing more life into that division that needs it. What is this? Looks like they're going to unify NXT, but that's a good thing. And I know, Miss Drede, salute to Miss Drede, the co-host of the You Dig. She talks about this all the time. She was like, that's how it should have always been. It should have always been unifying them. And also it makes it interesting. It makes NXT, and that's one thing that I think I'm really enjoying. And guys, let me know if I'm wrong, but the way that it seems like they're finally letting NXT, even though it's its own entity, it's a part of the WWE universe. The storylines down there matter when it comes up. Watching Dexter Lumis be his exact same character from NXT now, messing with the Miz, on the other side, that's dope. And to be able to go ahead and do that, because now we can have, Butch come in there with his Pete Dunne fit and do his thing. So, hey, like I'm loving what I'm seeing. And obviously, look, not everything that I say we could talk about it in a little bit, or wrong little things that we have liked and disliked. Oh, wait, hold up. Looks like we might have Lee back. Let's see if we can get him back really quick. Lee, are you there? Lee, can you hear me? Yo, can you hear me? Hello.
Can
You
you hear me,
Lee, you
sir?
see there? I mean, I see your smiling face, brother, but I don't see your lips moving. It just
Can you
looks
hear
like
me?
a nice picture of you right now. I hear you a
Hold on,
little
it's
bit.
spinning.
All right, we will get him. We're gonna try one more time, guys, before we get out of here. I really wanted to get Lee on the show today, but technical difficulties, man. This stuff never works for me. I'm not at home, by the way. I'm not even in my crib right now. We can't wait to get back to have like my own AGD. So sometimes shit don't work, but we're still gonna go ahead and get the party going. Yes, I do not know. He absolutely might be. But again, we're gonna try to get him in here as soon as we can. Uh, Let me ask you guys this, because I've talked about it on here before, and sometimes I feel like this is a topic I almost wish Dre was here for, but I'm gonna throw it to y'all. Okay, I'm gonna throw it to the world. I'm gonna throw it to the comments. Um, Liv Morgan, she picked up a win. I think a much needed win, obviously against Shayna Baszler in that for the SmackDown title match. Like we were all here. We saw it. It happened. Is the Liv Morgan experiment working? Because I will be absolutely honest with you. I don't know if it is. And I was listening to somebody recently, and they were talking about, why people get championships. People get championships for one or two reasons. One reason is either to put them, to you're the biggest star. We put the title on the face of the company, or somebody that we think could and should be a star, like somebody earlier was talking about future champion Austin Theory, right? Somebody that we think eventually is going to be a star, so we're going to put the belt on him in hopes that belt elevates that individual. I think Liv obviously is the latter of that, and I don't know if it's happening. I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if it feels the same way. And yeah, I see somebody like going back down to NXT, and like I said, like you did for Mandy Rose. Like I wonder what it would be like seeing her go down there and maybe reinventing herself a little bit more, maybe as a badass. Maybe again, maybe she's just not reaching my demographic. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just not for me, and it's just not connecting to me, and I'm judging it, and it's just not fair. But it just doesn't seem like it's connecting in the same way. So, but correct me if I'm wrong. But that's one thing I'll say about that match. But yo, she gets a credible dub on her record though. She goes out there and beats Shayna Baszler, who's been looking like she's that same NXT Shayna Baszler who's running through everybody. We can't be mad at that. Yeah, that was kind of dope. So, all right, we're gonna try this one more time. One more again. Lee, is that you there? You there?
I'm here, bro. Can you see me?
Holy shit. Oh man.
Hey, bro.
Oh
I don't. I
man.
don't
Look
went.
at
I
that.
don't. I don't went from
That
my
man done jumped
PC
through
to
hoops,
my
boy.
laptop, my telephone. So I had to go try something else. But I'm here, bro. I'm here. Where
Oh
Where can I
man.
jump in at? Where can I jump in at?
Well, look, man. Look, well, hey, look. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are happy to have you. For those who do not know, Lee is a member of the Scrap News fam, and because Miss Drede was not able to join us today, he lended out his services So we appreciate his time today, man. And again, Lee, my brother, welcome to the absolute best show in all of pro
Yes, it
wrestling and sports
is.
entertainment, the Royal Rundown.
Yes, it is. Hey man, glad to be here, man. I subscribe to y'all channel, subscribe to the show. I try to watch y'all when y'all live, be in on the chats. But hey man, I'm just happy to be here and talk wrestling with you, Serge. So what you want me to talk about?
Hey man, look, yo, first of all, everybody who's been listening live here on the show, I appreciate y'all listening to me just ramble on for about 30 minutes on my own. I do appreciate that. You guys are used to hearing a little back and forth, but you know what I'm saying? So I got this. I have what they call the gift of
The
gab. So I
gab.
can, you know what I'm saying? We can figure this out. It's all to the good.
Yeah.
Um, all right, but okay, let's talk about this because I kind of went through a lot of these moments. For
Okay.
you, what stood out as your favorite moment of WWE Cardiff? Like, what was that like standout moment that you look at that event and say, "Yo, you know what? That was it."
I had two. I thought
Okay,
Roman was gonna lose. I thought that was gonna be it.
I did too. Yeah,
Drew put on a hell of a match, man. Drew did everything in that match to win. I thought they would kind of put him over, but I thought they would have maybe did it so that he wouldn't win both belts. He may have won one belt. Maybe it was some trick in the contract or something. But I got to go back to Riddle and Seth Rollins, man. Riddle
ah,
Riddle and Seth Rollins. Oh my goodness gracious. That match had everything you wanted. It was hard hitting. Both guys came in there like they got a real life beef with each other. And I thought Riddle would go over in
is
that
that more of a
match.
shoot, or is that a shoot or a work?
I think it's more of a shoot. I don't think it's a work. I think it's more of a shoot. But hey man, I wanted Riddle to win, but I get it. I get it. He gonna be the little engine that could. He's gonna keep going after Seth until he get that one win.
But you
That
know what I'll say
one
about
win.
that? I agree with you, right? Because I'll say this. I said Seth was gonna win, and the only reason I said Seth was gonna win is because he's been on a losing streak when it comes to premium live events.
Okay.
See, I got it right this time. Well,
Okay.
premium
Okay.
live events, he's on a losing streak. He took all those L's to put Cody over,
Yep.
3 in a row. They didn't, he wasn't at SummerSlam for one reason or another, whatever it is, whatever the beef they say it is. So I think it was time to go ahead and get him a dub. So I thought that's why they gave it to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the
I can
cool
go with
thing
that.
about the match though is it didn't make either of them look bad. It
No.
it, it kind of put them in both a good place because if I look at Riddle, for instance, and it's just like we could easily turn the storyline and say, "Yo, look, he got overly emotional and he lost his cool, so he was able to go ahead. He lost his head, so he lost the match, right?" You have
Yeah.
that aspect of it. Also, with
But
Riddle, you have now we can see that he's like he can turn, he could be a badass. He's not just a stoner, I'm not, paying attention, skateboard guy, scooter guy. He's
yeah.
actually this dude. So, where do you see both of them going from here?
But I look at it like this. In wrestling, they got the
I
saying.
agree.
Sometimes people go over. Sometimes people get over. Both. Hey. Both of them got over, and I
Very
think
good point.
Seth he went over. But I like them to keep this feud going.
Okay.
Maybe one more pay-per-view
Hmm.
before they bring Randy back, maybe. So
Randy,
um I I like Riddle, man. I think Riddle,
I would say.
his character have definitely grown leaps and bounds. And I
Yeah, for
think this
sure.
feud with Seth has definitely brought out more of his in-ring skills than
Hmm.
his comedy side, which I
Yeah,
prefer anyway.
yeah. No, I agree with you, man. And it's cool to see because I think, and it was great that, I mean, they're starting to show a little bit more of what he's done in MMA, as opposed to for, anything else. They're showing him as a badass. They're showing him as a dude who's a chill dude, but he'll still, put the
Yeah,
paws on you if it boils down to it. And I like that they're starting to show that edge of him. Um, Even in his style, like I almost wish at times his style was even a little bit more aggressive. Like I just start just throwing flinging dudes around because he can do it. But yo, Riddle is somebody that's gonna be here for a long time, and dude's a star, man. I think it shows. And look, and I don't care what Reddit's saying about my man. I don't care what's out there on the Twitter sphere about him. I still mess with the bro. Okay. Yeah, I
Hey, can I
absolutely
make
somebody
one
said
more
that. I
point real
loved
quick?
seeing that as well. What was that, brother? Go
Can
ahead.
I make one more point real quick
Of course,
concerning that?
please.
For us true NXT fans, you know, that that pay per view definitely highlighted us people with blue and gold in our heart. You had Bianca Bailey, you had Imperium Reform, you had
Yeah, that was a moment too. Oh my
you,
God, how have I not talked about the best match of the night? Oh, we'll
yeah,
talk about it in a second.
you had Street Profits, you had Austin Theory, you had Solo make join the Bloodline, and you had so many more people from the old Black and Gold, and it just goes to show you that I don't understand how Vince McMahon dropped the ball on so many of them, and Triple H picked up the ball, and it seemed like, man, this is where they should have been at, and how they should have been used the whole time. So I felt good for the old NXTers who got a chance to show up and show out on at that pay per view.
All I gotta say, I've said it once and I said it again. By the way, yes, Imperium coming back. Oh, come on. Watching them come in. And first of all, let's talk about the absolute just joining, but so dope to of course. It's absolutely dope to see him here. You should have seen how hard it was to finally get him here, but he's here. Uh, but look, in watching Imperium back together, in the fight, the match of the night. I mean, Gunther, Walter, whatever you want to call him at this point, and Sheamus. Yo, y'all must have forgot. Sheamus, the OG,
Yep.
is still one of the absolute best workers in the game, and you forget how absolutely gigantic he is. He and look, this was this was a match that is after my heart, one of those hard hitting wrestling type of matches. Yo, when you were watching this match, man, like for you, what place did it put you in?
I It took me back to Tommaso Ciampa versus Walter.
Ooh,
That match
okay.
between Tommaso Ciampa and Walter, that match was so hard hitting, and I couldn't believe those two guys put on such a physical match. And you got to think of how big Walter was over Ciampa, and then you got Sheamus, who's about the same size as Gunther, and they just going at it. And I like the speed of the match. I like the physicality of the match. And I like the fact that Imperium actually came back together in that match. So maybe we get Imperium versus Sheamus and his two guys, and we
Yeah,
see how that go. Because
I love
you,
that.
yeah, because Pete, everybody keep forgetting Pete Dunne is a guy.
Well, you see that they're
Pete Dunne is
allowing
a guy.
him, and we I think you hit it on the head a little earlier. Also, now that we're in the Trips era, when and you were talking about the Tommaso Ciampa and how great that match was with Gunther back in the day. Being able to see these guys now, like Tommaso Ciampa, like Johnny Gargano, like these smaller guys are getting specific opportunities that really weren't there a couple months ago. And look, yo, I've said it time and time again. The Click won. The
Yep.
Click beat wrestling. Look, too sweet to the world. Triple H and them absolutely won. I'm telling, boom, you know what I'm saying? They won. They
Yeah.
won. They went out there and absolutely, they are winning. The Click won. They waited out Vince. They knew Vince was. Who knows? They were probably knowing HBK back in the day. He was sending women to Vince for all I know. But whatever it is, they went out there and they won. See, this is what happens. See, Dre's not here. She's the one that stops me from saying this stuff that might be controversial, but she's not here, so I might just start saying wild shit. But uh, let me ask you. Okay, I love seeing that. I love seeing them. Obviously, Street Profits, and what else do we want to talk about that you mentioned? But that match, honestly, best match of the weekend. It was fantastic, hard hitting. I loved every aspect of it. Everybody looked strong coming out of there. Um,
Except one person.
who's that?
Live.
Well, I was talking about that match specifically, but
Yeah.
I mentioned that a little earlier before we had you on there,
Mm.
okay, let's jump to that. Uh, I personally don't think, and I said that right at the top, I don't think that the Liv Morgan experiment is working at this point. I think she's a good worker. I just think that something's not connecting. Somebody in the comments made a point. They said maybe she ends up jumping back down to NXT. Look at what it did to, for instance, like somebody like a Mandy Rose. To me, that makes sense at this point in time, but I don't know. She might be somebody who's moving merch, so they might keep her there for a while.
I think that the Liv Morgan winning the belt story was cute in the beginning because she came from basically out of nowhere to win the
I'm
belt
not gonna say
against
it was
Ronda.
cute. We're not gonna say it was
It was
cute. We're
cute.
not just gonna go ahead. You're not gonna
All
dismiss it
right.
like that. It
All right.
was
I
like,
ain't gonna say
especially the way it
okay. It
happened.
was a good. It was a good
It
moment. It
was
was a good
all right.
moment.
All right.
All right. Better wording, better phrasing. It was a good moment. But I think it's time to put the belt on Shayna Baszler. Time to put the belt on Shayna Baszler. It's storylines out there that you can build around Shayna Baszler right now to
Okay.
include
What
Shayna,
storyline? Which one would you rock with at this present? If you were sitting there
her and
next to
Ronda.
Trips.
Her and Ronda.
Okay.
I will put her and Ronda even against each other or unite them. Ronda becomes her best friend. Ronda is helping her win matches, and you just build around their relationship. But
They
you
both
don't
took a
do
L
it
to they both took a L to live.
to
They get
live. Yeah.
together, maybe they go out there. And look, at the end, that might be something that works really well. And maybe that's what they need. And sometimes you need that, right? You even see that in combat sports, right? You need a good heel to actually make the face interesting. Maybe that's what she's been missing. Maybe that's it. Maybe it hasn't been her fault. Maybe we can do that. But yeah, I think that's
But
another one too. Shayna versus Ronda might be dope too.
But even if they do, let's say if they do have Shayna and Ronda, you know, going at each other. Just think about it.
Yeah,
You had the Shamrock Octagon match. You had the Tim Thatcher Octagon match. You could have
mm-hmm.
them in that little Octagon match,
That's
having do
real.
them doing different little things. So
I
you
mean, at
could,
the end of the day, if they really had
yeah,
an octagon match, we know who would win between the two of them.
yeah. But you know what I'm talking about. You know how they had a Tim Thatcher and Tommaso. Was
Yeah,
it him and
yeah,
Tommaso
yeah.
Ciampa that was fighting that little cage on NXT? I'm talking about stuff like that. So you got interesting ways to go with it. But I just think it's time to. I mean, Liv, she got. At least we all thought she was gonna lose her first title defense. So let's let's put the belt on Shayna and let's see how it go. Cause we still ain't got
Mm.
Charlotte back. We still don't have Sasha back. Naomi ain't back. So throw it on Shayna. Have Shayna and Ronda build a storyline, and then let's go from there. Let's build upon that. I think that'll be the way to go.
I love it. I love it, man. Let me ask you this: now that we have Solo, the Usos' younger brother, joining the bloodline, where in your mind does that leave Sami Zayn?
I think everybody sees the writing on the wall. Everybody sees the writing on the wall except Sammy. The Usos, the bloodline are going to turn on Sammy. Sammy and KO need to go ahead and get together and put them back together like they were in ROH and have them take down the Usos, have them take the belt off the Usos. But I can still see the bloodline getting stronger because you still got Tamina. You could have Nia Jax come. It's a lot
She's
of
not
things
coming
you
back,
still.
brother. We ain't gonna talk about that. Nia Jax is not
I,
coming
I,
back.
I said maybe. I said maybe. But you still got Naomi too, who's married into the
Here's the
family.
thing. This is what I agree with you with that, because what I do think is going to happen is that because I think it was at one point in time a perfect time to go ahead and really start bringing down the bloodline. But now bringing in Solo, what you can do is you send him out there for one of the smaller belts, United States, Intercontinental, and then let him beat Bobby Lashley, the absolute
Okay,
best
I
music
like
and
that.
all entrance music
I
and
like
all
that.
of pro wrestling. Bobby Lashley, the great Bobby Lashley, and let him go out there and Let's say Solo beats him. Then the next thing you know, they got another belt walking out there. Yeah, forget it. Let's have Tamina win the 24/7 belt. Fuck it, why not? Let's have it happen.
I
Give it
like the
to
way you
her.
think. I
You
like the way
know,
you think. Yeah.
like it would be fantastic. But I think you're right. I think it's time. I think we have to go ahead and yo, bro, come on. When Sammy said yes, everything that Sammy's doing, the funniest shit is that I don't know, let me know if you peeped this. Have you peeped how like Jay is supposed to be the one that really don't vibe with him, right?
Yeah.
He's
Exactly.
making Jay laugh the most, and it is hilarious to watch. I love every second of it, man. Those dudes
Yeah.
are amazing. But it's so many ways you can go with it, which excites me. And like you said, when Naomi and Sasha come back, they get the belts back. They have the tag team belts. They're part of the bloodline. You know what I mean? There's so many ways that they can keep rocking with it with the bloodline. And it's great. But I think Sammy and KO should probably be the guys that take the belts off of the bloodline. I'll be
Hey,
honest with you.
hey,
I
Serge,
think that's going
let
to
me
be.
ask you a question.
Yes, sir. I'm here to listen.
How you feel about ununifying the belts with all this talent they bringing back?
I mean, but you know what? Let's just be honest. At this point in time, they're advertising it almost as one belt.
Exactly.
And so if they're advertising it as one belt and now they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is making the secondary belts seem important, they're having big names going after those. Now you can have that happen and have this universal supercharger undisputed world champion of the living universe. Like they could have that now.
Yeah.
You know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that they might just keep it because everything else, and that's one thing that I think the benefit of what's going on with Triple H is that everything feels like it matters.
Yep.
Everything feels like it's just like, this is a big deal. Watching Gunther go out there against Sheamus felt important.
Yep.
We're talking about pro wrestling, and that shit felt important. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? Like everything that's going on with Bobby Lashley going out there, like even when it's on a regular Monday Night Raw, it feels like, oh shit, this is kind of a big deal.
Yeah. I like it.
So like I'm not mad at it. I think it is what it is. I think you keep rocking with it the way it is. Have your Superman undisputed title and keep it rocking.
Okay. I was
Whereas
thinking
if
the same way. I was feeling the same way. So I was thinking maybe you could get one of the tag team belts off of the Usos. That way you got um, another belt on Raw. So yeah, but I was feeling the same way for as the big title. But I'm just thinking that the tag title,
and you know what, man, for me, I look. Yeah, man. I like greatness. Okay, fuck
yeah,
them. That's what I look at. Real quick, I want to read this. Naomi pulls. Core J turns on Sasha. Joins the bloodline. Yes, yes, and yes again. Play them into working it out. Blame it on Sasha. Boom. Absolutely yes. Yes for all of that.
but
Yes,
ain't
let's
that the
do
same?
that. I'm here for it.
But ain't the same? Ain't that the same way they book Bailey turning on Sasha though?
I
Is
don't
that they said
care. Do it again. I want to see
okay?
it.
All right,
I mean,
all
look,
right.
we could do something else, and here's the thing. One thing they could do just have because this was my thing, and I'm curious to see what you think. Now that we have the tag team champions that currently are Aaliyah and I'm
Raquel,
sorry,
Raquel, Raquel.
Raquel Rodriguez. We have them. Since they're faces, do we bring Sasha and Naomi back as heels?
Yes,
How would you do that?
I think you bring him back his heels.
Because then they don't have to turn on each other.
Yeah, you bring him back his heels. Basically, what you do is you come back, you have Aaliyah and Raquel whenever whichever type of match they win, and then Sasha and Naomi's music hit. They come down, they quote unquote come to shake their hands, and then boom, they turn on them, and then they say these were all belts, la 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 la. This all show, hey, y'all just temporary. We back. we back, and then you just go fade to black, and then you got them as heels. It's just that simple. But the fans gonna go crazy when they come out. The fans are gonna go crazy, but the fans when they turn on them, you might get that boo that you looking for. But I think being they've been gone so long, it might be hard to turn them heel, just like it was hard for them to turn Becky Lynch heel. But I think you have to bring them back as heels first.
Hmm. I mean, look, man, we got Sasha Banks is baby Eddie Guerrero, so I know she can absolutely come back heel. We're not worried about that one way, shape, or form. All right. Anything else you want to talk about? Because I do want to go ahead and a couple things I want to get to before we get out of here. Definitely, we have to talk about
Let's roll.
AEW and everything that's going on there.
Let's roll.
All right, so let's see, AEW All Out. Biggest takeaways from the event to you?
MJF. MJF is my biggest takeaway. Um, MJF coming out at the end as the Joker,
The
and Stokely
Joker.
and Stokely putting together such a little stable with the
Wasn't it
hair.
nice to finally see that make sense?
Yes,
Wasn't that nice? Well, I
because
felt good seeing it.
I didn't know which way they was going with that because people would take the card, but it wasn't like they were saying yes. So it was like, so where we going at with this? But it was good to see that Stokely put together this stable, and MJF is the lead man of the stable.
I love it.
And I just think, I don't know whether or not MJF and Tony has mended the fences, but this is a return they had to have. You had to have MJF come back at one point in time. I'd rather be sooner than later. And being that CM Punk won the belt and MJF and CM Punk still got some unfinished business, I love it. I like it. I thought MJF returning was my biggest takeaway.
Look, I agree with you. Everything storyline wise makes sense now. I do wish they got to CM Punk coming back the way he did, being able to, have that defense, to go against Mox. I wish they didn't do it last week because that whole little like, me personally, his little rah rah like I'm gonna quit, and then in the middle of my speech, I'm here, I'm back, let's go. Like to me, that shit was mad corny.
Yep.
That's how I felt. It was mad corny, but the way it's playing out and going again, I agree with you. MJF. Did you know it was him when you saw the Joker first come out?
No.
Yo, that dude when he walked out there, popped his head and gave me that little shoulder walk. I was like, "There's Matt. There he is."
I
I just had a feeling deep down it was him.
I actually when he first came out the first time, he looked a little bigger. And then when they did it at
Hey,
the
bro, black
end,
is slimming. He was wearing all
yeah,
black. It's
but
slimming.
I think what they did was by when they put the close up on him when he was in the ring when they first got in the briefcase or the contract, they
Uh huh.
made him seem bigger. But then when they did it at the end of the show, I was like, could that really be him? I was like,
Yeah.
is that really him? And then I was like, wow, all right. But yeah, man, I'm kind of with you, man. I wrote that down as one of my notes, man. I just hated the way they did the Moxley and CM Punk thing. Why even had them had that little match on TV if you just gonna turn around and have them fight at the pay-per-view and you have Marks what on a 10-day title reign, which probably go down as the shortest title reign in AEW history. I just didn't like that, man. I just thought that was
I,
whack. They just could have
yeah, I
saved that
totally
to the
agree
pay
with
per
you.
view.
How'd you think about the Ricky Stark and Powerhouse Hobbs?
Ricky Starks is hotter than fish grease right now. Ricky Starks is so hot right now. Um, between Ricky, my two guys that I like right now are Ricky Starks and Hook. I like them two guys
Hook.
right now.
Hey, Hook had a good match too.
And Ricky Starks, I like the fact that he lost that match because now you put him on the hunt, and whenever you got a baby face on the hunt, storylines just build themselves because we're gonna fans normally gonna gravitate to the baby face that's on the hunt.
Hey, look, I love it. Like him losing absolutely made sense. Because I totally agree with you. I think it showed like he is going to jump right back on the hunt. You know what I'm saying? So like you're absolutely right. Like that's why I love how they did that. I'm really excited about it because you already know come Wednesday he is going to cut some kind of promo. That was great. Hook, I also agree with you. Hook had finally a really good match. He was great. Um, I'll say obviously Swerve and Glory versus the
Yep.
Acclaimed was my match of the night. It was so much fun to watch. You talking about somebody who is over like a rover, scissor me daddy. The
Claim.
Acclaimed are out there said daddy o, they're out there doing their thing. Holy shit, man, that was all action packed, incredibly fun match. I loved it. All right, let's let that, yeah, yes, that tag match, absolutely insane. Holy shit, that was insane.
The one thing I
I
don't like that they're doing with Swerve and Keith
uh-huh.
is they keep throwing these little hints out to break them up. Like when Keith Lee did the pounce on Swerve, they had this like every match. It's
Mhm.
like why are they so in a rush to
Because
break them up? I just don't like that. Let them have their little reign. At the
yeah,
end when they drop the belts or whatever, have them dap it up and say, "Hey man, good luck on your solo ride. Let's do this solo. And if we ever need to hook back up, we'll hook back up. Don't
yeah,
break
yeah.
them. I just don't see what's the rush of breaking them up right now."
I totally agree with you. 1000%, I agree with you. They are. But one thing I will say is this: together, they're great. They go out there and performance-wise, I mean, Swerve is so good, and also
Yes.
such smart wrestlers, right? And I say smart wrestlers because I'm thinking about it in the way that the Acclaimed was obviously the crowd favorite, and they were loving every bit of it. Anything they did, they were popping on, right? And that was so sick being able to see it, like, and they were killing it. They were bringing it back. You got what's his name, not with the short hair, Bowens, acting like,
Yeah.
like he hurt it, he re-injured himself. Like there was so much going back and forth. Another one of those matches that had near fall to near fall that I was legitimately biting on.
Yep.
It was so good to end up watching it, and so fun to be able to see the way it was building. And again, I love the finish. If you have to keep, I think we should give Swerve and Glory a good long title run. But that was good. Obviously, FTR is another one. FTR went out there, won the match. We haven't even talked about the trios match. The first, and this plays right into what I'm going next. We had the what's it called? Why am I blanking on their name? We had Kenny Omega and
The elite versus the best
yes,
friends.
there we go. There we go. And having them win, man, the trios match which was a great, entertaining match. Was awesome. But let's get into it before we get out of here. What are your thoughts? So everything that we're hearing about after, after the thing, there was a brouhaha between CM Punk after the media scrum that they had, and a number of individuals
Yeah.
in AEW. Um, what are your thoughts on this entire situation?
All right, my first thoughts is AEW dropped the ball. They should have let Osprey and Ozzy Open win the trios belt. There's no way.
I
There's
agree.
there's no way you keep you find a way to keep Osprey on your roster at all costs, even if they
Osprey could
defending.
have been their Seth Rollins.
Yeah, you keep Osprey. I don't care if the belts are over there in New Japan. You have Kenny and the Bucks travel to New Japan and try to bring the belts back home. Whatever you do to keep Osprey on your roster or on your TV, that's what you do. So that's number one. They dropped the ball there.
Absolutely,
Now let's
absolutely.
get back to what you're saying.
No,
CM Punk, A
perfectly said, by the way.
AEW, y'all have a problem, and that problem is CM Punk. CM Punk used that presser to make it all about him when he should have used that presser
You don't think that
to.
was a work?
No, I think CM Punk. I think he spoke from the heart, bro. I think he spoke from the heart. I think everything he said was deliberate. I think it was CM Punk had an open mic and he had a chance to express himself. And all because somebody asked him a question about Colt Cabana. All he had to do was say, hey, me and Colt haven't been friends in this amount of time. And I just want to talk about my match I just had with Moxley. No, he didn't do that. He talked about Colt Cabana. Then he went on to talk about the EVPs. And we know who the EVPs are, Omega and the Bucks. And then he bought out Hangman Page, going into business for himself. Now, me, I feel like Tony Khan sitting right there to CM Punk's to our right, CM Punk's left. He should have reeled him in. He should have been, hey, let's get back to the event. We just put on an all-standing event, la la la, cut him off, boom, move on. But Tony Khan didn't do that. So now you got the Bucks got heat with him. I'm quite sure Hangman got heat with him. Then you heard Jericho come out and say, "Hey, I like when stuff
Jericho
like
out here
that is
coming out sounding like the voice of reason.
yeah, coming out saying stuff like that should be kept behind closed doors." La 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 la. So, hey man, I think AEW has a problem with CM Punk, and I think CM Punk he probably gonna issue some kind of some kind of apology. But I think he spoke his heart, bro. And sometimes speaking your
Lie,
heart ain't always a
cheat,
good thing.
steal.
Yep. So how you feel
Um,
about CM Punk, bro?
I don't know enough, man. I like dead ass. I think that what's happening here, it sounds like there's a whole bunch of ego involved. And when I hear things that is sounds like is a whole bunch of combination of toxic masculinity and bullshit, it's just not something I'm interested in. So that's all it seems like it is. Like I'm just like, look, yeah, y'all need to have a beer, hug it out, do whatever the hell y'all do, call it one. You know, I hope it's a work. I hope it's a shoot, work, shoot, whatever you want to say. But if they beefing like this, man, y'all grown ass men, man, check your ego out the door, man. Let's make this money. That's how I
But
feel about it.
but that's becoming the norm in AEW. You got Kingston and Guevara who can't seem to
Hey
put they
man, it's the hood over there, man.
man. It's like, bro, let's make this money. Let's put asses in the seats and let's go. I mean, man, but man, Tony Khan, he got to rein it in, man, because like I mean, not to piggyback on what CM Punk saying, but you can't have everybody going in business for themselves, cause then you're gonna have
look,
WCW all over again.
look. What is it? Look, one thing about CM Punk that I think was is hilarious, and that this is funny, is because Punk does say he doesn't want to work with the young guys who think they know everything and ego and shit like that. But it was so funny. There was the juxtaposition of having uh there were two clips of him talking about when he first came in, and he was like, "Oh, I love working with these young guys, and I'm here
Yep,
because of these young guys in the
yep.
back that are hungry about this." And now he literally sat there and he was like, "I'm old. I'm tired. Get off my lawn." Like it's so funny how quickly your makes. And again, I think it all boils down to this shit ends up boiling down. Look, it just sounds like it's a whole bunch of ego and bullshit. And I hope and I genuinely hope it gets worked out, because to me, we were coming into a point in time that it was going to be, I think, another renaissance in pro wrestling. I was over here having conversations with my lady about pro wrestling, tell her like, nah, like this ain't as stupid as it used to be. Like
Yep.
they're making sense of things and stuff like that. You're seeing everything's happening with Triple H, and AEW, especially after New Japan. They were cooking for a second. So seeing this happening obviously is disheartening. I hope they end up getting it figured out. um don't get it twisted. I giggle my ass off at every little bit of it. Like, I
Yeah.
want to hear everything. Tell me more. I love it too, but I hope it doesn't affect the product. I think that's the only thing I want to get at with that one. I hope it doesn't end up affecting the product. And it is, I hope it is one of these. Who said this a little earlier? It is one of these brilliant. If it's a work, oh my God. If it is a work, it is an absolute. They are
Yes, it
genius.
is.
And
Yep.
one thing that I will say that Tony Khan does is that I think that he does take real situations and does end up turning them into works. So
Yep.
we can end up seeing something happen here, and I think will be end up really dope. All right. We have to end up getting out of here because that's the time we have for today.
Yeah.
But my guy Lee, thank you so much for joining me today on the show today, man.
Man, I apologize for the technical difficulties,
No
man.
worries.
But now I know which computer I need to use. So next time I know which computer I need to use, and I'll be better set up. But hey, man, thanks for having me, man. And
Absolutely.
I can't wait to watch the show next week, man.
Sounds
Keep
hey
doing
man.
what
Well,
you're
thank you
doing.
so much. I appreciate it, man. Where can the people find you, man? Let the people know. Because you
Uh,
right. All right, you do all kind of dope shit. So let them know.
Yeah, I got my little Twitter handle on the screen right there, Ellie Vance 757. You can find my stuff on the Scrap. I write for them. I got a Lee and Keys Real Talk podcast on Wednesday nights on Blog Talk Radio. Man, I'm just here and there. I be on Twitter a lot, talking. But I'm all about the positive energy, bro. That's just me. Positive, positive, positive.
There it is, man. Well, brother, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. And like I said, everybody, you can hear us everywhere. Podcasting is available: Apple, Google Play, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, all of those good things. Where the same things are. Put this up. You got bang, bang, bang. Nope, that's the wrong one. Got too many of these. Where'd it go? There it is. All right. Make sure you listen to us everywhere podcasting is available. After this, obviously, you could check us out not only here, check us out on the Scrap News. Make sure to check out the Scrap News, the absolute best in combat sports media. If you want to check, and not only the best in the media, they are the fastest growing YouTube page in all of combat sports. I'm going to say it again because that's what they said.
Yeah.
It's on the website, so it has to be true. So check them out. Let the people know. Share this. You get shows like this and so much else on there, man. So thank you guys for watching us here live today. Check us out each and every week right here on the Scrap News. My brother, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. We will see you next time on the show. Peace out, my guy. And to everybody else, you know how we get down each and every week before we get out of here. We leave you with some words of wisdom from one of the modern day philosophers, the man, the myth, the legend, Fat Joe himself.
Yesterday's price is not today's price. Yesterday's price is not today's price.